The Galaxy Council had not seen a day like this in a very long time. On the crystal city of Verixa, the council chambers were filled with delegates from every corner of known space. They were creatures of many shapes and sizes, some with scales, some with fur, and others with smooth gray skin. Each species had come expecting something important. They believed humanity, a species new to interstellar politics, would attend the meeting to negotiate peace. The chamber buzzed with voices. Ambassador Kareth of the Velen paced nervously. He was tall, with a long neck and green feathers that shine under the light of the chamber. He had been a member of the council for decades and had seen many wars, but he had never seen humans act this way. Normally, humans were cautious, diplomatic, and willing to talk. Yet today, they were silent. A small message floated into the chamber, projected by the council's communication system. All eyes turned to the holographic screen. The words were simple. Earth declines to negotiate at this time. A hush fell over the room. Some delegates blinked in disbelief. Others whispered rapidly to one another. Ambassador Luron of the Tesh leaned forward, his 6 eyes narrowing. He was a thin, weary creature with blue skin and long fingers. "This cannot be," he said in a sharp voice. "Humans do not refuse to speak without reason. Something must be happening." Kareth swallowed and nodded. "I fear you are right. Humans are never so silent unless they are certain of their actions. This is not just a refusal. It is a warning." The council erupted into debate. Some members believed humans were preparing for war. Others thought Earth had discovered something dangerous that the council did not know about. The room filled with tension and fear. Every delegate remembered old rumors about humans. Stories from explorers and traders spoke of human courage, ingenuity, and sometimes unexpected ruthlessness. In a secure observation post near Earth, Alex Morgan watched the council's reaction. Alex was human, of course, and he led a small team sent to monitor the council. His team included Maria Brooks, a quiet and careful analyst, and Ethan Carter, a young pilot with a sharp mind. From their hidden station, they could see the council chambers and listen to the debates without being noticed. Alex frowned. He did not like this situation. Humanity had chosen silence for a reason, but the council was reacting with panic. "They do not understand us," Alex said quietly. Maria looked up from her console. "They will," she said softly. "They always understand eventually. But the question is how long it will take before they act out of fear." Ethan leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "The council thinks we are preparing to attack, right? That's why they are panicking." Alex nodded. "Yes, they cannot imagine that we might have a reason to be silent other than preparation for war. But the truth is simpler than that. Earth is focused on something else right now, back on Earth." The council of leaders gathered in a high-security room. President Helen Parker, a woman in her early 50s, stood before the table. Her advisors surrounded her, including General Sam Owens and scientist Dr. Laura Field. They had discussed the message to the Galaxy Council many times. Helen spoke firmly. "We cannot go to Verixa. The Council does not need to know what we are investigating. If we go there, they will slow us down, question every decision, and delay action. We do not have time for negotiations." Sam, a tall man with gray hair and a strong build, nodded. "I agree. Our survey teams have reported strange energy readings from the uncharted region beyond the Orion Rift. If we wait for council approval, we risk losing critical time. We need to act quickly." Laura adjusted her glasses. "The readings are unlike anything we have ever seen. They match nothing in our records. If we investigate carefully, we might find either a lost civilization or a serious threat. Either way, we cannot afford distractions." Helen looked at each of them and nodded. "Then it is settled. The council will have to understand our silence on its own. Humanity cannot wait for approval when so much is at stake." Meanwhile, in space, Alex and his team continued to observe. The council delegates grew more and more uneasy as hours passed. Kareth tried to maintain order, but murmurs spread through the chamber like wildfire. Ambassador of the Keldari, a species with metallic skin and forearms, slammed one of his hands on the table. "Do you not see? Humans are dangerous. Their silence is a sign they are preparing for something no one can stop. Luron shook his head. Or they have discovered something the council cannot understand. We must not act rashly, but some voices could not be silenced. We must prepare our fleets, shouted another delegate. We cannot wait. Humans will act first if we hesitate. The chamber was now in chaos. Alex watched the scene with a mix of concern and frustration. This is why we remain hidden, he said. If they knew the truth, they might act too late or too early. Humanity's silence is protection, not threat. Maria studied the council's displays. I am seeing unusual energy spikes near the Orion Rift. They are consistent with what Earth reported. If the council sends fleets blindly, they might trigger something we do not want to trigger. Ethan whistled quietly. They really are panicking. I've never seen them like this. I thought humans were unpredictable. They are nothing compared to the council right now. Alex allowed himself a small smile. Humans have a reputation, but at least we think before we act. That is what separates us from most species here, ours past. The council sent repeated messages, all unanswered. Delegates began to fear the worst. Some even suggested preemptive strikes. Karth tried to calm them, reminding them of Earth's capabilities. Do not act without proof, he warned. Humans are capable, yes, but they are not reckless. If they wanted war, they would have started already. In the observation post, Alex leaned forward. We need to monitor those energy spikes closely, he said. They may indicate why Earth refused negotiations. Whatever is there, it is likely serious, Maria nodded. I am tracking the source. It is moving slowly, but it has mass and energy signatures unlike anything in our catalog. If humans did not want the council to know, this is exactly why. Ethan glanced at the readings. So the council is panicking over something they cannot even see. Typical. Alex shook his head. It is more than typical. If the council acts hastily, they might cause a disaster. We have to be ready for anything. As night fell on Verixa, the council chamber remained tense. Lights glowed softly over the crystal walls, but the atmosphere was electric with fear and speculation. Every delegate knew humans were unusual, but today their unusual behavior had turned into a source of panic. Far away, in the quiet of space, human fleets moved with precision. Ships like the Horizon Voyager and the Endeavour surveyed the uncharted region beyond Orion. Alex and his team observed from their hidden station, ready to relay any important developments back to Earth. Alex finally spoke, his voice steady. This is only the beginning. The Council fears what they do not understand. Humanity has refused to negotiate, not because we are reckless, but because we are preparing for something that no one else is ready for. Maria looked at him with concern. Do you think the Council will forgive our silence when they learn the truth? Alex shook his head slowly. Maybe, but right now, we cannot think about forgiveness. We must focus on the threat, whatever it may be. Humans act in their own way, but always with purpose. That purpose is what the Council cannot yet see. Ethan leaned back, studying the projections. I think they will see soon enough. Humans always make themselves known in the end, Alex nodded. Yes, but first we watch, we wait, and we make sure that the Council does not act out of fear before it is necessary. Humanity will protect itself, and maybe the galaxy, if it comes to that, but only if we move carefully. The Council remained unaware of the full picture. Panic had taken root, and every decision would now be colored by fear. In quiet observation posts far from Verixa, humans watched and prepared. They would not act recklessly. They would not negotiate when time was precious. They would do what they must, and the galaxy would only understand in time. And so, a silence that terrified the galaxy continued. Humanity had refused to negotiate, but it was not out of arrogance or malice. It was out of foresight, and soon, the first true test of that foresight would begin. The Galaxy Council was still reeling from Earth's refusal to negotiate. In the council chambers, voices rose and fell like the tide. Some delegates wanted to send fleets to Earth immediately. Others warned that acting without understanding could lead to disaster. Fear had taken root, and the normally orderly council looked chaotic. Ambassador Karth of the Velant tried to maintain calm. He raised his long green feathered hands and spoke clearly. We cannot act rashly. Humans have refused negotiations, yes? But that does not mean they are preparing for war. We do not know what they face. Luron of the test shook his thin blue head. They are capable of much more than we know. They have refused. That alone is proof that they believe action is urgent. They may have discovered a threat we cannot yet see. Some delegates whispered nervously, their voices overlapping. Ambassador Rin of the Keldari banged one of his four hands on the table. Threat or not, we cannot wait. Humans have technology unlike any other species. They may strike before we understand the situation. We must prepare our defenses now. Kareth sighed. He looked at the projections of human ships moving quietly near the Orion Rift. The council did not see the full picture, but he and a few others could sense the careful precision of humanity's actions. Humans moved in small, deliberate groups, scanning, observing, and preparing without alarming anyone. Far away, Alex Morgan and his team continued their silent monitoring. They watched the council's reactions unfold and recorded every detail. Maria Brooks, at her console, pointed to an unusual reading. Alex, look at this, she said. On the holographic map, a faint pulse of energy was emerging from a distant part of the Orion Rift. It moved slowly but steadily. This may explain why Earth refused to negotiate. It could be what they are investigating. Ethan Carter leaned forward, his eyes wide. So the council is panicking over something they cannot see. Classic. They assume the worst without proof. Alex nodded. Exactly. And that is dangerous. If the council acts out of fear, they could start a war with humans unnecessarily. We have to monitor closely and be ready to respond if needed. Back on Earth, President Helen Parker and her team continued to make plans. They knew that the Galaxy Council was watching, but they had to focus on what mattered most. The mysterious readings from the Orion Rift were unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. General Sam Owens frowned as he studied the reports. These energy signatures, they are massive. They match no known technology or natural phenomenon. Whatever is there, it is ancient and powerful. If it wakes, it could threaten the entire galaxy. Dr. Laura Field adjusted her glasses, pointing to a series of readings. The patterns are consistent with some kind of dormant structure. It is not just energy, it seems intelligent, or at least it was designed by intelligence long ago. That could explain why humans refused negotiations. We cannot risk telling the council before we know more. Helen nodded. We need to prepare quietly and carefully. The council does not understand. If we act too soon in front of them, they will either panic or interfere. We cannot afford either. Meanwhile, deep in space, human ships moved carefully toward the uncharted region. Daniel Price, captain of the Horizon Voyager, led one of the exploration teams. His crew, including Olivia Grant and Tyler Brooks, scanned the area for anomalies. Captain, the energy readings are stronger than expected, Olivia reported. The source is large and stationary, but it is beginning to pulse. Daniel studied the data. Keep monitoring. Do not approach too close until we understand what we are dealing with. We cannot risk triggering anything prematurely. Tyler frowned. Do you think it is a weapon? Daniel shook his head. I don't know, but it is old, very old. Whatever it is, it has been inactive for a long time. That may be why humanity refused council negotiations. We need time to analyze before anyone else gets involved. Back at the council, the debates continued. Some species wanted to send fleets preemptively. Others argued for caution. Ambassador Kareth tried to mediate, but the growing panic made order impossible. They refused to negotiate, said a delegate from the Nivran species. That is proof. We cannot wait. Humans are dangerous when unchecked. Kareth shook his head. Dangerous, perhaps, but we do not yet understand their purpose. Acting now may create a war we do not want. The council split into factions. Fear and speculation drove many to extreme positions. Kareth watched helplessly as alliances shifted rapidly, and some began discussing the stationing of fleets near human space. Alex watched the chaos with concern. They do not understand the situation, he said. If they act too soon, it could be catastrophic. Maria looked at him seriously. We need to make sure Earth's instructions are followed exactly. The Council must not provoke humans by accident. Ethan smirked. They already fear us. I don't think one mistake will change that. Alex frowned. Ethan, this is serious. The Council's panic could start something that we do not want. Humans may be careful, but they are also strong. If pushed, they will act decisively. We must prevent that moment from coming. Hours later, reports came in from human monitoring stations. Energy spikes near the Orion Rift were increasing. Alex and his team watched as pulses of light moved through space. The readings suggested something was stirring, something large and powerful. On Earth, Helen Parker stood before her team. We cannot delay any longer. Prepare the survey fleets for immediate deployment. Focus on analysis and containment, not combat. Our priority is understanding, not confrontation. And keep the Council out of it for now. Sam Owens nodded. Our ships are ready. We will proceed carefully, as always. Humanity will act with precision, not panic. Laura Field adjusted her instruments. The readings are unlike anything in our records. This may be a discovery that changes everything. That is why the Council must not know yet. They will misinterpret. They will overreact. Alex monitored the human fleet's movements from the observation post. They move quietly and with purpose, he said. No wasted energy, no unnecessary signals. Humanity acts like a single mind. That is what the Council cannot see. Maria added, and that is why they panic. They do not understand the patience and foresight of humans. Ethan leaned back and stretched. Still, it is amusing to watch them freak out. I've never seen so many species scared of humans who are doing nothing aggressive. Alex shook his head. It is not amusing. It is dangerous. We must remain vigilant. Humanity must remain calm while the Council reacts emotionally. That balance is what will keep the galaxy safe for now. The Council chambers were growing more chaotic by the hour. Reports of human movements reached some delegates through spies and sensors, though the full scale was unknown. The fear of human unpredictability spread through conversations and strategy meetings. Ambassador Wren shouted again, pounding the table. Prepare fleets. Do not wait. Humans will strike before we know it. Kareth stepped forward, raising his voice. We will not act on assumption. Humans may have reasons for their silence. We must wait and observe, or we will destroy the chance for peace and understanding. The tension reached a breaking point. Delegates from several species were on the verge of ordering fleets into position. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. If the Council acted too soon, they could spark a conflict no one wanted. Maria pointed to the readings on her screen. The energy pulses are increasing. Whatever humans are dealing with, it is alive or at least responsive. This is why they refuse negotiations. They need to focus on the unknown first. Ethan leaned forward. Do you think the Council will ever understand that? They think humans are reckless because we refuse to talk. Alex nodded slowly. Not yet, but they will see, eventually. Humanity always acts with purpose. And when the time comes, the Council will realize that our silence was for protection, not threat. Night fell across Virixa, casting long shadows over the Council chamber. Delegates whispered, argued, and plotted, unsure what the humans were doing or what to expect next. Outside the chamber, human fleets moved quietly, analyzing and preparing for whatever lay ahead in the uncharted region. Alex watched the scene and spoke softly. This is only the beginning. Humanity's silence terrifies them because they do not understand it. They will only understand when the first results are clear. Until then, we watch and wait, ready to act if necessary. Maria nodded. The Council fears the unknown. That is natural. Humans act with foresight. That is what the Council cannot yet see. Ethan smiled faintly. They will learn soon enough. Humans always make themselves known when it matters most. Alex looked at the projections of the energy pulses. Yes, but first, we remain patient. The unknown is dangerous, and the Council's fear is a variable we must control. Humanity will act at the right time. Until then, we prepare. In the quiet of space, the human ships move like shadows among the stars. They scanned, recorded, and analyzed. Humanity refused negotiations, yes? But it was not out of pride or arrogance. It was out of necessity. And as the council debated and feared, humans acted. Preparing for the first real test of what lay beyond the known galaxy. The silence continued. But it was no longer empty. It was filled with purpose, with vigilance, and with the steady determination of a species that understood patience and power. Humanity waited. The council panicked, and the galaxy held its breath. Humanity's fleets moved quietly through the empty space beyond the Orion Rift. The ships were not large, but they were fast and precise. Each vessel had its purpose. Some scanned for energy readings, others analyzed gravitational anomalies, and a few observed nearby star systems for any unexpected movement. Humanity refused to negotiate, yes, but they acted with intention and care. Every step had a reason. Captain Daniel Price sat in the command chair of the Horizon Voyager. His eyes scanned the holographic map in front of him. The pulses of energy were growing stronger and more organized. Daniel had never seen anything like it. Lieutenant Olivia Grant, he said, bring me a full spectrum analysis of the source. I want to know its size, mass, and any potential energy outputs. Tyler, continue monitoring local space for any interference or anomalies. Olivia nodded and began typing rapidly. Captain, the readings are massive. The structure seems enormous and is completely artificial. It's as if it was built to withstand anything, but it has been dormant for a long time. Its energy is minimal, until now. Daniel leaned back. And the pulses? They are increasing, Olivia replied. Small at first, but now they are steady. Something is awakening, Tyler frowned. Do we know what it is? Daniel shook his head. Not yet, but I suspect the council will panic if they knew about it. That is why Earth refused to negotiate. This discovery is too important to risk interference or delays. Meanwhile, on the observation post near Virixa, Alex Morgan and his team continued to watch the council. Panic had grown. Delegates from several species were now debating the deployment of fleets. Near human-controlled space. Ambassador Ren of the Keldari slammed a hand on the table. I will not wait. Humans will act before we are ready. We must station fleets near Earth immediately. Kareth tried to calm the chamber. You do not know what humans face. They act with precision. They will not strike without reason. Acting out of fear will only create disaster. Other delegates whispered, uncertain. Some feared that humans had discovered a weapon. Others believed they had found a threat so powerful that the council could not hope to stop it. Alex leaned back in his chair. They have no idea, he muttered. Humans are not preparing for war. They are investigating. That is why they refuse negotiations. It is always about preparation first, not pride. Maria Brooks studied the energy readings. The pulses are coming from deep inside the rift. It is older than any records we have. The structure may have been abandoned for centuries. Whatever it is now active again. Ethan Carter whistled softly. So the council is panicking over something they can't even see. They think humans are reckless. It's funny, in a way. Alex frowned. It's not funny. If they act before we are ready, it could start a war. Humans are careful, but the council does not understand patience. We need to monitor and be ready for any outcome. Back in the Orion Rift, the human ships approached the source cautiously. The energy readings were now almost constant, and faint gravitational waves pulsed outward from a single point. Daniel's crew began detailed scans. Olivia pointed at the holographic display. Captain, the structure is massive. It is shaped like a giant ring, but unlike any ring we have seen. It has markings, symbols, or some form of technology embedded into its surface. The material is resistant to scans, but we can detect energy nodes scattered around it. Daniel nodded. We need to be careful. Whatever this is, it is clearly advanced. We do not know if it is alive, dormant, or automated. We must proceed with caution. Tyler leaned forward, studying the data. Do you think it's a weapon? Daniel shook his head slowly. I do not know. It could be a weapon, a station, or a library of knowledge. Whatever it is, it was made to survive. And it is waking up now. That is why Earth refused negotiations. We cannot waste time explaining it to the council. They cannot understand the risk as the human fleet scanned the structure. Small pulses of light began moving along its surface. They were almost like signals, moving in a pattern that suggested intelligence or programming. Olivia gasped, "Captain, it is responding to our scans. It's like it knows we are here." Daniel nodded gravely. "Keep your distance. Do not trigger any response beyond observation. We are here to understand, not to provoke." Meanwhile, at the council, panic continued to grow. Some species were convinced that humans had discovered a weapon capable of destroying star systems. Others argued that humans had found an unknown life form that could threaten the entire galaxy. Ambassador Kareth stood and spoke loudly, trying to restore order. "We cannot make decisions based on fear and assumptions. Humanity has refused negotiations for a reason. That reason is not hostility. They are acting with foresight. Do not let fear drive your actions." But many delegates ignored him. Ships were being moved closer to human-controlled space. Messages were sent to fleet commanders, instructing them to prepare for possible conflict. Alex watched the situation with growing concern. They are moving too fast. If the Council engages now, it could be catastrophic. We need to make sure humanity remains calm and does not respond prematurely. Maria nodded. The pulses from the structure are increasing. Whatever humans are dealing with, it is powerful. That is why they refuse negotiations. They need time to understand it first. Ethan smirked. They fear us without reason. Funny, isn't it? Alex shook his head. Not funny. Dangerous. We need to focus on the task. Humanity will act carefully, but the Council may not. That is the problem. Deep inside the Orion Rift, Daniel's crew continued their scans. The structure was now clearly waking. Tiny lights moved along the surface, almost like eyes. Energy readings pulsed outward, and the gravitational field around it shifted subtly. Olivia said quietly, "Captain, it is starting to communicate, or at least respond. The patterns are repeating. It may be alive or programmed to react to activity nearby." Daniel nodded. "We need to continue observing, but no closer than necessary. Record everything. Earth must know what we are dealing with." Tyler frowned. "Do you think it could harm us?" Daniel's gaze was steady. "Possibly. That is why we proceed carefully. Humanity refused negotiations because we cannot risk the Council being slow or panicking while this thing wakes. We act first, cautiously, back at the observation post near Viewership." Alex reviewed the Council's responses. Delegates were still planning fleets and defensive strategies. Though many were confused by the lack of information, they did not understand, Alex muttered. "Humans are not reckless. They are precise. That is why they refuse negotiations. The Council's fear is based on assumptions, not facts." Maria adjusted the screens, showing the energy pulses from the Orion Rift. The source is enormous. The structure is ancient. Whatever it is waking now. Humans must deal with it first, alone, because the Council cannot be trusted to act calmly. Ethan leaned back. "They will panic, make mistakes, and call it human unpredictability. They cannot see the planning and thought behind our actions." Alex nodded. "Exactly. And we must ensure humans remain calm while the Council reacts emotionally. That is what will prevent disaster." On the surface of the structure, the lights continued to pulse. Small waves of energy extended outward, probing the surrounding space. Daniel's fleet carefully documented every movement. Olivia said softly, "It is beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The technology is ancient, yet precise. Whoever built this, they were not careless." Daniel's voice was firm. "Stay focused. Beauty does not matter. Survival does. Record everything, observe, and prepare for any response. Humanity refused negotiations because time is too precious to waste. That is why we are here, and that is why the Council must wait." As the human fleet continued its survey, the pulses began to form patterns more recognizable. They were not random. The structure was responding intelligently, or at least systematically. Tyler said quietly, "It's like it knows we are here, like it is studying us." Daniel nodded. "Exactly. That is why we maintain distance. Observation first, interaction only when necessary. Humanity's silence is protection, not hostility. That is what the Council cannot understand. Far away, at the Council, tension reached its peak. Some delegates wanted to strike at human-controlled space, convinced that the humans would attack first. Others warned that acting now could provoke a conflict no one could control. Ambassador Kareth stood again. I warn you, humans are acting carefully. Their silence is deliberate. They are not reckless. Acting out of fear will only bring disaster upon us all. But the Council was divided. Some species had already moved fleets into alert positions. Messages of concern and preparation were sent across the galaxy. Alex and his team watched silently, tracking both human and Council actions. This is a dangerous moment, Alex said. If the Council acts too soon, humans will respond. But they will respond logically, not emotionally. That is what makes them so dangerous to those who act out of fear. Maria nodded. The pulses from the structure are increasing. Whatever humans are dealing with, it is awakening. That is why they refuse negotiations. They must understand it before anyone else interferes. Ethan smirked again. Fear makes them move faster than they should. They do not understand the calm patience of humans. Alex looked at the projections, his expression serious. It is not about patience. It is about survival. Humanity refuses negotiations because the unknown requires focus.